So is it just you and I? Oh, no, Kristen's on.
Hi guys, I am not feeling well, so I was not going to join. But I saw that we're having issues getting in,
Okay.
so I'm just having it open.
All right.
Usually, I didn't think I had to be the one to start it.
I don't even see your face on here. Why is there no faces?
No, my face is not.
You
know
gotta
what?
start. You gotta start your video.
Oh, there's Eric.
Yeah. You
What I gotta do? Click on it.
Yeah. Stop video. Yeah.
Am I on there now?
Not yet.
All I'm coming up was mute. It says mute. Oh, start video. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay.
Right. So
All right.
Kirsten, we don't have a quorum. So I mean, Matt and I can hang out for a bit.
Lydia didn't say anything about not joining, so she might just be.
She did.
Yeah, she said when she sent stuff out like a week ago, she said she wouldn't be available today.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I just didn't notice that. Okay.
Yeah.
A monumental volume of emails these days, Kirsten.
That's all right. I mean, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem rescheduling. Oh, Jesus. Hold on 1 second. I gotta get that. Yeah, what's up?
Kirsten, do you want us to like actually start and stop the meeting so that
All right. Well,
I
I don't think this meeting's gonna take long, so I can throw some different clothes on to come down. I gotta bring payroll down anyhow, so. Yeah. Okay. All right, babe. You hanging in there okay right now? Okay. All right. Cool. Bye. Sorry, guys.
No. So there's some sort of kind of governance to this all, Matt, where we advertise the meeting. So we have to have it. But
okay.
What I'm proposing is we can start and stop the meeting. So we have no citizens' comments because we have no citizens. So we can say we had the meeting, and we just didn't have an agenda. And that way you can go feel better, and Matt and I can hang out. I'll take a couple of notes into the doc, and we'll call it a day.
Yeah, you guys can talk a little bit about, there are really only 2 things on there. I've been kind of under the weather for a while, so I didn't even get that agenda.
You weren't feeling good the last time.
It, unrelated, but yeah, just poor timing, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you go. We got this.
Jump off. You guys are in. You can, discuss a few things if you want.
Yeah.
Get some brainstorming, but we'll try to have a more thorough meeting next month.
Sounds good.
Eric, you're host. I made you host.
Oh, okay. Got it. I'm good. Thanks.
All right. Well, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Feel better?
Feel better, kiddo. Yep. All right. Dr. Greiner, I presume. So let me see here. We don't. What's your hand?
Well, it's being recorded, so.
It's funny. All right. So the meeting last get around, we normally have to approve the minutes for the last meeting.
I read through those. I mean,
but we don't have a quorum.
But you can't. You got to have 3 people, right?
Right. We don't.
So you can't approve the minutes.
Yeah. So
you got to have someone to.
So here, let me do this. 6. Here, I'll just show you what I'm doing. More.
Oh, I don't care.
Share screen.
I trust you. I've known you for a bit.
For a bit. Just a bit. What screen do you see?
Meeting agenda for Crafton Borough Planning Commission.
Okay.
Called order, roll call, citizens' comments, zoning project update.
Kirsten. No. Yeah. All right, I'll talk about the Parks Master Site Plan. Jeff to.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much, that whole thing was pretty much in a done deal, yeah?
Yeah, so I kind of threw a little temper tantrum at the closeout meeting, so I just.
You?
Yeah,
No, I couldn't imagine that. I have a hard time.
Yeah, I just, I mean, a lot of this feels to me a lot about this idea that some people are floating around a park tax. And if we're using this
Park tax?
Yeah, if we're using this park plan to create a park tax, I didn't sign up for that. You know what I'm saying? So
why would you have a park tax?
To raise money for our $13 million park plan.
Yeah, well, I'm not for that either.
Right. And that's what I said, I was like, wait a minute, because I noticed that, so we had like, it was like, what do you call it? Bingo? You know what I mean? Like, like you get bingo chips and you go and you vote for. Well, I did mine virtually because I couldn't attend that particular event, right? Never made it into the plan. I basically, I said we should put a handicap spot or whatever, accessible spot out at Linwood, because on the back of Linwood, there's already a flat space. It's basically a parking spot. Stick up a sign, pave it properly, put some blue paint down. You got an ADA accessible park.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Done. Costs us, next to nothing. Fellas can add that to their summer paving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just, why that wasn't done 10 years ago or whatever. When did they start the in-house paving plan? 4 years? You know what I mean? It's like, well, that's low hanging fruit. So I'll put a chip there, and then I put a couple of chips on the dog park, because that baseball field inside of the main park, that little
they don't use it anymore.
They don't use it anymore. And every once in a while, I know there's like a t-ball practice or something that happens. But I mean, for once, twice, maybe 10 times a year, versus, I mean, anytime I open up my back door, I hear people with their dogs, because it already is. It's fenced off mostly.
Yeah.
People are already, you walk through there, you better wear boots. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a dog park already. So,
well, I would say if you're gonna do a park tax, you turn that into an actual dog park, and you charge a fee for that.
Well, yeah, I don't even, that's not going to generate $13 million. It's like having
I'm saying
to buy an aircraft carrier, Matt.
But it still pays for the. It helps to pay for the people.
My point. Yeah. So there's there's $65,000 in the park plan, right? Because that's what it would cost if you hired a contractor to build a dog run there, right? And it's not going to cost us anywhere near that to convert that to a dog park internally, you know what I mean? In-house, not anywhere near that. And then I looked it up. It's about $5,000 all in for like Green Tree has like a key fob system where you show up at the main office.
Yeah, I'm in a meeting. What's up? Sorry.
It's all right. You show up at the main office, you give them the money, they give you a key fob, you know what I mean? And it's a little bit extra money. It pays for itself, you know what I mean? And the parks guys are already down there emptying trash, apparently they only do it twice a week, so that's 2 more barrels of trash or whatever.
Right.
None of this stuff is and what, to me, it's like, guys, this is low hanging fruit. We don't need to wait on a grant. We had a park plan, everybody who wanted to have a voice in that plan had the opportunity to have a voice in that plan. You know what I mean? I advertised it to the Carlin, the Cougar football. I took it to the Crafton swim club. I took it to the Kirsten and Lydia took it to the PTA. I took it to the school district. I mean, it was well covered. If you were particularly interested, and you said you didn't hear about it, but I was like, come on, Matt, you don't even know what the hell Savvy Citizen is, so let's get you into the 21st century, right? But no, seriously, so it wasn't without, that was not a in the back room kind of thing, and there was a lot of people that overwhelmingly, you still hear, be nice if we had a dog park, a dog run for me here in Crafton. You hear it all
Well,
the
and
time.
I mean, most community, a lot of the communities have those nowadays,
That's right.
and it's a great meeting place for people. Not
Exactly.
not just the animals, but for a synergy of a community of what's going on.
None of these things require $13 million. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no shit.
And
You can do that dog park for next to nothing.
Well, I said I'd be the first one to volunteer to, go dig post holes or whatever you need. You know what I mean? Rip out you know what I mean? It's a couple of Saturdays and it's open for business.
Done.
But so all this happened, and then I started hearing about this. Well, maybe that's not a bad idea. Probably like, whoa, wait a minute. We don't have this overly inflated park plan. If you go back to the old park plan 10 years ago or so, if you read through that, Matt, most of the things in there never came to fruition. And that's
Eric,
what these plans, Matt, you need.
The whole reason why I joined this of sorts, okay, is because nothing ever comes to fruition. And I don't care who's watching this or who watches the recording. Right. It's the same old stuff. So I rolled up to my place of work, and I said, oh, I got to go to a meeting before I, bring payroll back down or whatever. And they said, well, what's the meeting for? And I said, oh, I'm on the planning commission now. And they said, well, what do you plan? Or what are you doing? Like, I'm like, well, you're trying to, helping to foster that, things get done in the community and so on and so on. I said, but most of the time they don't.
Right. Yeah.
Hence, that's why I joined.
I'll be honest with you. It's not for, there's nothing, I don't think it's not bad intent, malicious intent, whatever it is. Like I said, I just didn't like some of the direction. So I spoke up, wanted to get on the record and say, listen, I didn't help make this because it's a wish list. And what these plans are used for, Matt, is if you don't have the paper written, right? If you don't have the plan written, you can't go after Wayne Fontana's, bucket of gold. You can't go after these state grants.
I understand that
without that. So it makes total sense. We're getting a $250,000 pool house renovation out of one of these grants. We got the playground equipment. We've been on a roll for the past 5 or 6 years since I've been involved in this. To the tune of millions of dollars in grants, just because you have to follow the red tape, and so I'm all for it. But to then say, okay, the plan's done, it's being accepted, and then wait for grants to come in. I'm like, well, no, you know what I mean? How about implementability? We have that, the what they call the Duncan property is now called the Creekside property. It's between CIT and the bank.
I know what it is.
It is. Yeah. So I said, so there was, we said, well, keep it as a nature preserve, put a trail through. But it doesn't cost, what's in the plan, $90,000 for improvements. Well, I walked across that with the dog many times now. It's a swamp. You're not going to develop that into any kind of a nice nature preserve. There's no buildings. They're just going to sink into the swamp. Up the hillside, it's steep as hell. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But you know what? From the creek, it only
cost Crafton $2 million,
right? From the creek to the canal. To me, as water on a bridge. I know it's a sore spot for you, but
not for me.
Well, you know what I mean. It's a
the Duncan part is, yeah, but
for anybody who's been paying that bill like I have.
Oh, that's not a sore spot for me. Right? Crafton got what they deserved on that one.
Yeah, like I said, that's all bygones. I get it, but my point is it wouldn't cost. And one of the people came out to the park plan meetings. This guy is from, he's from Utah, Colorado, something like that. And he's like a forestry guy, and he's made trails and that sort of thing. He said, yeah, I'm here to help. I'm like, here you go. Here's a guy who knows what he's doing, knows how to cut the switchback. I'm sure the Boy Scouts know how to do that too. Mm-hmm. We could cut a trail for nothing. Again, one Saturday, a couple of machetes and a nice day in the woods, and boom, you got it. You know what I mean? It's done. It's all done. So those are the kinds of things, like, I get real frustrated when we go through all this grandstanding and hoopla around these plans, only to use them for the red tape stuff and not actually use it as a guide.
Just go do it.
Right?
My thing, Eric, and you know me, but you don't know me well. It's like, even with the school district, why does everything have to be so complicated? Just go do it. You
Right.
own it, go do it and be done with it.
That's why I did what I did. So I wrote up, kind of a public comment, and submitted a public comment. I went to one of the borough meetings. I haven't been to a borough meeting since I was on council, right? I went and I pitched it. I gave everybody a copy of it, and I said, listen, these are five things you can do today. Now that you have the plan done, you don't have to wait for grant money. You just have to say, let's do this. You don't have to. You go up to Kennedy Township, they got $80,000 worth of lighting over that deck hockey court. They got 300 kids on any given Friday night playing hockey there. It is a wonderful thing. We don't necessarily need that. We don't need a deck hockey court, because if you want to play deck hockey, go to Kennedy. You know what I mean? It's not a
but there's different
Settlers
things.
has a great thing. We don't need to detract from their programs by trying to stick something in here. We don't need any of that. So, but if somebody wants to organize and do that and come in front of council and say, hey, we'd like to do, then yeah, let's hear about it. But in the meantime, let's take care of the football program. Let's take care of the dog park. Let's take care of let's take care of the things that have been people have been asking for and don't cost a hill of beans to accomplish. That's all I was saying. And like I said, I got a real bad taste in my mouth when I heard this. Hopefully it's just rumor and it's not actually been consummated in anything already. But I just don't see us. I mean, I live on Belvedere Street, and it's tank traps up and down that street. You know what I mean? We have a $4 million operating budget that we can basically parlay into grants to get some things done around here. Well, we have a $9 million bond that is earmarked specifically to fix our sewer pipes so we can have more development in town, so we can do, you know what I mean? We don't need to be spending any of that as loose change on park plans.
Nope.
I just, once all the streets are paved, once all the sidewalks are smooth, once all the trees are trimmed, then
of all the communities I've been in and around and everything, we have, just as they sit, we have a pretty sweet, park setup. You got Crafton Park, you got Noble Park, you got South Linwood.
They do need maintenance, and they are in disrepair.
Oh no! But what I'm saying is that, it's not millions of dollars worth of stuff.
Well, look at the park over by Serafino's, right? Look at that park. That park's fine.
Noble Park. You talking about Noble Park?
No Park. So that park's fine. It's well used, right? It's well used. It's an eyesore with that fence around it. You know what I mean? But we don't need.
I was looking at that today. I mean,
we don't need a $1.6 million renovation in that.
No, it just needs a new piece of 1x put across the top of the fence.
Well, but here's the point though. We can get a grant and put a nice, period specific, black iron, whatever, fake iron fence there. It would look great. It would be a showpiece. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
and that would cost us next to nothing. It would cost us about, because of the grants and the way you match them, about cost us the same as replacing that 1x. You know what I mean? So
yeah, when they did that, they did that to keep the basketballs from.
It was necessary, right? It was necessary because
flowing down,
safety issue. Balls in the road. Yep. And now guess what? It served its useful life, and we can do a little better. But again,
but at the same time, my point is that you could go over there and fix that now for less than $500, and it would be fine.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like the maintenance is, that's in disrepair. The painting and the fixing of the fences and that, but those aren't. That's not what this was about. This was about capital improvements, right? The park plan, and this is where people are not.
That's what I'm saying. Our core parks are fine.
Our core parks are fine. We have
everything always needs maintenance.
Yes.
Just
and that's not, and there's a difference between capital improvement and maintenance.
Exactly. So that's where I'm going with what I'm saying.
This was not a maintenance committee. This was a park plan committee. And I said, well, the capital improvements, places to invest money, if we have opportunities to find investment to make, that's great. But we don't have to go inviting opportunities to invest just for the sake of investment. We can make strategic investments that are gonna have better impact for less dollars overall. That's the point that I was trying to get at with all of this stuff, is like, guys, let's just focus on implementability. I understand we gotta complete the park plan so we have it, right? Because we need that to go after grants. But in the meantime, what it's showing us is, what's the vision of the people who live here and what do they want? And it was pretty clear. So let's go ahead and, let's deliver out of it, because otherwise, you know what it looks like? Looks like a bunch of people got together and had hot air for a couple of months, and nothing ever happened. That's what it looks like. And that's not what it was, because there are great people that really committed themselves and did great things for them. That's all. And like I said, if it becomes weaponized and say, well, we can't do any of this without a park tech. Whoa. That's not what I signed up for. So that's all that was. So it's basically, it's all wrapped up. The revision, what's listed here as a minor revision was my big complaint. You know what I mean? So some of the other things in there, like the way that the dollars are captured, and this is just because of the way that the state does these competitive grants, right? So if you have two guys picking up 2 barrels of trash a week, there's nothing in there that shows, well, you already have a truck running through the park picking up 19 other barrels of trash. What you're putting in there is the $4,000 a year, or whatever it was, $4,000 a year to remove that trash. Well, that's really, you're already,
they're already employed doing that job.
It's not a plus. Doing the dog park isn't a plus 4,000. It's really it's included in the 4,000 that we're already spending on it. That kind of a thing. So I said, we need to note that, because if somebody comes back and says, look, we can't do any of this because look at these prices. Well, those prices it's a la carte, when the way that you really buy this stuff is by the catering. You know what I mean? It's not it's a whole package. And I said, I understand that it has to be sliced and diced that way for the evaluation of grants and that sort of stuff. But we need to have some sort of a disclaimer added to this that explains that this isn't $4,000 in net new maintenance costs. Right. It's a delta. Maybe it's, if we're spending, I said, what are we spending to maintain that park right now? Well, we don't do our books that way, so we don't know. I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure somebody can guess.
You're not adding any cost whatsoever.
Well,
you're not.
Time, talent,
I agree.
You're adding some time, but you're not adding net new time.
No, it's just part of the project. So
those were the two minor revisions. I think those are pretty healthy revisions that needed to be added to it, and that's what that comment is. So there's my master site plan update for the planning commission to all of Crafton. But that's it. So the last things here, we can't do, so there'll be no citizens comments, there'll be no review of minutes, but there is this. Last year we did a series of workshops. They were webinars that we advertised on.
Can you back up for 1 second?
Yep.
I want to ask you your thoughts of where we can only have 2 planning commission meetings. I mean, 2 planning commissioners on the, where'd you go? Oh, sorry. The 2, how do you go away like that? What do I got to do to go away?
You click the camera. Anytime it says I have fuzzy bandwidth. It says your internet's unstable.
What do I do?
Just
hide self view. There you go. Now what happened? Let me see. No, it didn't work.
No. There's a black bar. There's a black bar.
But what if I want to hide myself?
Here. So you should have, let me show you something.
Oh, wait.
Give me 1 second. I'll show it to you. Yeah, it doesn't show up on the screen.
Shit. Where the hell would I go?
Here you go.
Now I'm talking, but I don't see me anymore.
You have a bar that looks like this?
No.
Somewhere on your screen, do you have a little icon? Do you see this blue box down here with the camera in it?
What are you pointing at? Oh, yeah. I see that.
Okay. If you click on that and you click on meeting controls.
All right.
You'll see this black bar, and on this black bar, you'll have this button right here.
Stop video. Okay. But where the hell did I just go? No. I'm talking, but it's not showing me.
So go back to this,
I don't have that damn thing.
this
Oh.
blue box down here.
Wait, hold on. I don't see that. Show thumbnail video. Oh, there I go. Okay, so I was away for a second. So if I do this, can you see me?
I can still see you. You just hid yours. You just hid yourself. You want to see? You see my screen where it says where it says stop video?
Why don't I see? Where are you? Where am I now? Where'd I go?
You
Oh, there I am. Okay, now I'm back. Now I'm so where the hell's that at? I don't see that. Anyhow, wait,
anyway.
down at the bottom, record, share screen, chat, participants.
There it is.
Oh,
Yep.
there we go. Stop.
video.
We're stop video.
Yep, that's it. There you go. You're gone.
Ah,
Where did Matt go?
that's like if I want to drink a beer.
That's it.
Then
That's
when I
it.
just click, I see there. Oh, wait, no, then I go there.
And then you start video and it starts back up again.
Wait, oh shit. Now I'm completely gone. All right. Oh, there you go. Now you're away.
Yep.
I just see. Okay.
Yep. Just.
All right, cool.
I can't wait for
I just
somebody. I can't wait for somebody to actually sit through this.
I don't know if
Anyway,
anybody will.
so yeah, so Kirsten's comments is, we can only have 8 people. And this is backlash because the
Yeah, but
park-
only two can be from the planning commission.
Yeah, it's funny because there's only 3 of us.
Well, 4.
Well, Kirsten's she's on the board. She's on the council,
Oh,
right?
so okay.
So it would just be a weird thing to cut one of the 3.
Yeah.
And when we're all in the planning commission to do
Yeah.
the work of the zoning. Like that's kind of one of the big, big boxes to check.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah. I mean, if there's only 3 of us, so you'd think that they could be adjusted.
and
to that.
I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure that there's no reason why they can't have 9.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All right.
But the
I just was.
blowback was there was like 20 people involved in the park plan,
Mhm.
and it was somewhat unruly, and I think it was better for it because there were people there that I disagree with
Yeah.
flat out, and I appreciated them being there
Yeah.
because I don't call the shots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think my ideas are just wonderful, but
Yeah.
you know what? They're just my ideas, and if you got your ideas, good.
Yeah. Well, I've always been one, agree to disagree. You know what I'm saying? Like the concept of doesn't
We're
mean I
not
hate, doesn't mean I
always
like you any less. It's just I agree to disagree.
we're not always gonna it's why restaurants serve one and more dish. You know what I mean? It's just the way it goes.
All
But
right, well,
anyway,
that'll
so-
be to be continued.
Yeah,
so.
it's to be continued. We can't.
So you were talking about the zoning workshops.
Yeah. So last year, just so you know, last year we did a series of 3, 4, 5 different meetings that were open to the public. They weren't planning meetings. They didn't have all the call to order kind of governance stuff. They were just like workshops, like you go to a webinar, like to learn how to,
Ooh,
build a
speaking of-
bridge.
I need to raise my hand. Is there at some point we could stop doing this Zoom shit and actually get together like on a regular basis, or is everybody like more into the Zoom stuff?
I don't really care. For me, Zoom is easier because I don't have to plan for it. You know what I mean? I just get
Yeah, I know,
upstairs.
but I like face to face.
No, it's not
Anyhow,
a bad it's not a bad idea. It was surfaced a couple of times. The park plan meetings were all in person. I think they were all in person.
I'm a much more in person kind of guy.
Yeah. Like I said,
But anyhow,
I spend 3 or 4 hours on Zoom every day.
yeah, I know. That's what I'm
So,
saying. It's just it's
it-
so bizarre to me. But
yeah, well,
whatever.
like I said,
All right.
yeah.
So these workshops,
I'm not gonna fight anybody if they want to meet in person. Is my point.
I'd like to.
So last year we did a series of these workshops. There's something called an eco district. It's a really cool concept where you can get a certification, like Tree City USA kind of thing. It's kind of like that. It's a lot more intense. It's a lot more intense than that. It's about how you plan, how you make decisions. It's like a strategic planning process. But once you get it, again, it opens up doors for other grants that you can get. And it keeps it, what I like is it keeps the council curbed to the kinds of initiatives that it can do, because it has to align to the eco district principle. I think it's really fascinating stuff. It's worth exploring whether or not we become an eco district town or not. I don't think that it's for the council to decide. I think that would probably be something that we'd want to get more community input around. So we went out and started sharing some of because you have to understand, Lydia and Kirsten live and breathe this stuff. They work in this world, right? So so I was like, hey, great, share the love, man. I want to learn all about it. We did one about what the zoning is, right? How the workshop on what the zoning was. We did the parks. We did, like I said, half a dozen. We did one on, I think, were you there for one for Linwood? Or not Linwood, Linden?
No.
Just to talk about kind of the pros and cons, community feedback on whether or not the sheets goes in or blah, blah, blah. All that sort of stuff.
I was at some of those meetings, but yeah.
Well, in addition to the council and the school board meetings, we did just an open forum where we just took people's ideas, right? And Wozniak and what's his name, Mangus, I think his name is. These two guys, they show up out of nowhere and they had some really interesting ideas. They're not implementable, right?
Those are my favorite meetings, when people show up and say that's where I got my first
They had $30 million
kiss.
worth of ideas on a property that on a good day might be worth 3. You know what I mean? I was like, well, hey, they had a walking scaffold crossing over Steuben that said, big old fashioned railroad sign that said Crafton. I was like, oh man, that's beautiful. Who's paying for that? Because Sheets ain't paying for that.
Well, I tell you what, I was at some of those meetings, and I was with the Get-Go guys with, Echo Development.
Yeah.
I said, look, if you guys want this to happen, there's 3 things that need to happen. Thing one is you need to create, like they do on the highways and stuff like that, a really nice barrier wall behind all the houses that are on Maxwell.
Right.
Something, something really cool, something nice, something, blah, blah. So number 1. Number 2, you have to take all 3 houses that are sitting on the hillside.
Yep.
Because, it cuts down right there. Like after, that
was in their plan. That was all.
No. Well, those 3 houses, and I said, and you've got to figure out a way for people to get from here to the park. I said, stop worrying about having this green space and a place where because people aren't coming to your Get-Go and worrying about taking a walk on the back side of your property and sitting on benches. I said, so take that out of the equation. I'm like, figure out a way you're going to create a buffer, take those 3 houses and figure out a way to get over to the park. And I said, you do that? I said, you're in like Flint. He didn't listen to me.
Well, they did have all of that. Their plan did have all of that, but people were so misinformed by the time, because I was on council for that last meeting, and the people who showed up were so misinformed. And I'll tell you, there were 3 or 4 school board members who were there, and they didn't speak. And there were 20 people that got up and spoke against it. And none of the 4 people who were, supporters of it, obviously, the school board, they didn't speak and they didn't defend it. And I'd spoken to Shriver about this, and I thought
that was pretty stupid.
He had some pretty good ideas, and I don't think he would have been laughed out of the room, not by me anyway. And I, like I said, I just, it's tough. And, here we are, we're sitting on the other, coming on the other side of pandemic. The damn thing could have been built.
Well, then the other side I heard of it is Crafton just wasn't willing to accept the amount of money that the school board was willing to give. So,
nah, that's all. I was on council. That was not a thing. That was not a thing. That's misinformation. Sure, there was some healthy back and forth of 26 versus 24% versus, But at the end of the day, it's not about the one-time cash. It's about the cash flow, and the municipality really, sees some nice cash flow over 10 years coming from business on that versus, blah, blah, blah. But like I said, we did workshops on those sorts of things. So she has up here, the zoning, having an educational workshop on what is zoning, right?
Mhm.
It's a good idea. Get people
Yeah.
to, the other thing is, what other workshops do we resurface eco districts again? Which I think is great. I don't know if you ever saw the I don't know if it's eco district or some other plan. The McKees Rock CDC sort of through some smart kid through Carnegie Mellon did a beautiful waterfront proposal for McKees Rock. I mean, it is gorgeous.
Mhm.
I mean, whether or not it ever it's kind of like Homestead. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, that would change the whole valley, man. That would just be awesome to see. So how do we tap it? Like, if that actually gets legs, how do we be shovel ready on being, kind of part of that connection? Those are things that I think that we can be more forward thinking about. I don't know. I mean, the electric vehicle charging practices, that's going to come on us. It's probably going to be more on the actual Crafton zoning board, right? Because people are going to need variances to put those chargers up. But there was I think there was
Well,
some.
now they're coming up with cars that you can plug them into your own goddamn house.
Right, but if your parking is across the street from you, like mine is,
Yeah.
right? So I got to put up a charging station on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
Which means I got to get a permit for that.
Yeah.
Which blah 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 blah. None of that is a bad idea, but there's also this idea. Well, maybe in the borough's parking lot there could be charging stations put up there. There's.
Well, that I was thinking that, or
there are interesting ideas, and
the Port Authority.
I think that's a really interesting topic. You know what I mean?
I said that the last time. I never even thought about that, because some of those thought processes were brought up when we were talking last time. That so if you have someone that has the situation as you, so what do you do? Are you going to run an extension cord across the street?
Right. Can't do that. Yeah. Anyway, so those are the kinds of things. I like everything that's on here. I mean,
give me some background on the dark sky ordinance.
Oh, so the idea, I think we talked a little bit about this. The idea,
I love the idea as face value. So
so basically, the lighting that's being used right now, like I look out over the pool and they have a halogen light pointed basically straight up the hillside all winter long. Right. And it lights up that whole freaking hillside.
Right.
You know what? For what? It's supposed to light up the pool house. And they're lighting up half the valley. You know what I mean? So the idea of the dark sky ordinance is to cut down on the amount of light pollution that we're causing, right? And it's not a big deal. It's just a lot of it is smart stuff. Traffic, street lights. You know what I mean? Street lights don't need to be these big, giant, glowing moons.
Well, why can't they be shut off at a certain point?
Well, you want them on overnight for security.
Why?
Oh, because that's.
I mean, if you just go down to Collier Township, I mean, you go into the subdivision, they don't have street lights.
That's true, but we have sidewalks. Do they have sidewalks? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know.
Yes. No, I'm saying yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not. I'm indifferent about it. I think that shutting them off is an interesting idea. I don't know if that's.
I mean, how beautiful would that be that you could actually see the stars?
Yeah.
I have one right outside my goddamn thing. My house, they put a freaking one of those goddamn halogens in there the whole goddamn street.
Right.
I mean, I can see 1,000 feet every direction of my house.
Right. That's bedroom. That's what I mean by excessive. Like if you're going to keep them on overnight because you feel it's a safety issue, great. I'm not going to die on that hill, but I do think that we can improve the lighting. I know,
but I'm just saying,
we can improve the lighting where it's just down lighting and it's not lighting up hillsides and inside of people's homes and that sort of thing. But like I said, I think those are all good topics to get feedback from the community on. We can make a recommendation to the council that they should explore the pros and cons of a dark sky ordinance. Here is some sentiments that we collected from the community. Blah blah.
I think it would be cool. I mean, I love the idea to be able to.
I think those are good. I think that
Brick Street preservation. I mean, that's one I'm a big advocate about. I've always been for the brick street. You know, you may think differently, seeing that you live on Belvedere, but I do, you know, I love our brick streets. It slows people down.
I love our brick street. You know, like I said, I looked into it. You know,
I know it's a
400,000, 400,000 to replace Belvedere Street. But I tell you what, Belvedere Street has not had any significant work since they did the one end, right, which was 50 grand. The one end, which was 13 years ago. It's the only thing that they've spent on the street in 13 years, right? 14 years now. It's the only thing they spent on this street in 14 years. No maintenance, no nothing.
That's my point. You got to look at, you have to do the comparisons. If you spend the money to fix
every 5 years, you're
repaving
repaving at a cost of $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 versus every 100 years you're doing $400,000 worth of work. I don't know. You know, like I said, I mean,
I'm saying it's definitely a math equation. And then when people like, you know, Pennsylvania American Water or People's Gas or whatever comes in and says, hey, we're going to put new gas lines here. We'll give you a brand new road and it's not going to cost you anything. You know, but again, the long-term maintenance of that road that they've replaced, does it outweigh them making them put the goddamn brick streets back? You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
Because I know how that, you know, with a lot of the roads in Crafton and other communities, you know, the bricks aren't available like they used to be, number one. Number two, you know, when you got somebody coming out and ready to spend the money to put a brand new road in, and it's not going to cost you a penny, you know, but I think you have to look at the long term and what it does aesthetically.
Yep.
So that would be something that I would love to
so you can
look into further.
Yeah, I'm all for it, and there's, you know, there's a lot of interest, but, you know, by, you know, same token, you got to invest in that stuff because that's upfront money, not over time money.
Yeah,
and it's cheaper. It's cheaper on your year-to-year budget to be.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
You know, I like I said, I think that the brick street preservation is important. I live on Belvedere, which is a tank trap, you know, but here's what I said. Here's what I said to what's his name, Rob. When I was on council, I said, when we did the budget, I said, listen, I think there's money here. I think that we put another truck and another guy, young, you know, sorry, young, whatever, green, is that inexperienced trades person, whatever you want to call it, journeyman, I don't know. Anyway, you get somebody new, add somebody who's been there, knows the street, and put them on, give them a special helmet, give them a special hat, and call them the brick patrol, call them the brick patrol. And all they do, because I tell you what, you know, as bad as Belvedere Street is, and I've done this, you can circle 33 potholes on this street, 33, and it doesn't make it smooth as glass, but it makes it a very tolerable road.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so if they did 5 this year, right, and they did 10 next year, they did 3 the next year, you're halfway there in a couple of years, and you don't have to touch that again. Those 33 potholes have been here for over 14 years. Right. The 20 years that I've been here, those potholes have been here. You know what I mean? So it's a one and done kind of thing. And what gave me the idea is one of the guys up the street had a water break, and they came out, and this guy, I mean, they were pros. 2 guys in a truck showed up in the morning, right? They left at lunch. They came back the next day, and it was smooth as glass. They had replaced those bricks. It was gorgeous. Yeah. I was like, holy cow. And they did a about the size of an automobile. So it would have been like a giant pothole that they would have replaced in a day.
So what they did on Alice, so back in, you know, years ago, well, you know, 15, 20 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, I lived on Alice Street, and, you know, there was a big water main break, and they sent out a survey, and I've seen the survey since then, for other streets, but they said, you know, what would you be more comfortable with? And everybody voted to have the bricks replaced. So what the water company did, though, is every I don't know, maybe it was 50 feet, 100 feet, whatever it was. They dig down and put a concrete, I think they went down about probably 42 inches below the frost line or wherever, whatever the normal is.
Sure.
And maybe it's 24 inches.
They
I
put
don't
a
know.
dividing footer in.
And they put a divider in there.
Yeah.
Concrete divider,
Yep.
just poured it like you would a curb almost.
Yep.
And then started on the other side and went so far. And then they redid the whole damn street.
Makes sense.
And that street is still smooth as goddamn.
Yeah, I mean, you just, it's that kind of creative thing. It's out there, it's possible, but it
Mhm.
takes a will to do it. And, like I said, I think it's a terrific, these are great. The one that I added is something I think is worth talking about. If you leave your place and you go down to Sakai's, there's a paper street that goes down to Chartiers. You can take that to Bell's Run. Bell's Run will then take you into the Chartiers Conservancy Trail, which doubles back. You can come all the way back past CIT and up to the sled riding hill. Right?
You know that land's for sale though.
Well, but there's still a paper street there.
Yeah, I know.
What I mean? So there's land for sale. Maybe that gets developed, but in the meantime,
I'm just saying it's undevelopable. So I think the borough should work out a deal with the guy that's selling it because it's undevelopable. You can't do anything with it because it's part of that whole creek thing there. It's all in the flood zone.
It's a hillside. It's what it is. But like I said, there's an opportunity there. And what's that going to cost you? A couple of signs, say Crafton Heritage Trail or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't care what you call it Vouchef Boulevard. You know what I mean? I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's just things like that are creative things because I do that. I'm able to get over 8 miles in Crafton and barely touch a surface street.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that, you can't do that in Brentwood.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? You can't do that in Brookline. You can't do that in Dormont. You can't do that in any of the municipalities and areas right around the city of Pittsburgh.
No.
It is just the natural geography that we have. And it's think about this. I mean, if you start up on the trolley trail, and that's going to connect because they're redoing that all the way into the city. They got a huge grant for that.
Yep.
So if you connect that all the way down to connect in front of the school, over Blacksbridge, down the, you have a walking system in this town that people will actually come to.
Oh yeah, there's
what I mean? Like those are the kinds of things. I mean, I don't mean to be always a penny pincher, but until we're out of ideas that cost almost nothing, until we're out of those ideas,
I'm a doer, and you can do most things without a whole lot of money. You just got to have people say, "Okay, let's do it."
That's it.
I have to use the rest.
All right, let's shut this off.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Goodbye.
Motion to adjourn, 7:25. Second that motion.
I second it.
There you go. See you later, man.
See you, man.